Hi everyone, we're talking with Representative Sandy Masin.
Hi Charlene.
Hi Representative. We're talking with Representative Masin about the 2010 legislative session. We've talked about a lot of the work that got done in the beginning of the session and the session in total. Also talking about the major challenge of balancing the budget. When you came into the session, you had about $1 billion to work with, but with about 2 weeks to go, that number swelled. Tell us what happened and what you needed to do to deal with it.
Okay, this is a good news, bad news. Because some of us felt very strongly that the governor overstepped his bounds last year with the unallotment process. And so it was really encouraging when the Supreme Court ruling came in our favor that yes, the governor went way beyond what he was supposed to do. So that's the good news, but the bad news is the unallotting that he did last year meant that we had to make up all that money. So that added substantially to the amounts that we needed to finalize to have a budget balancing bill this year. And the one thing that I feel really good about is I think the legislators were much more sensitive in how they were making the cuts to the various programs to Minnesotans, whereas it seemed the governor was going after certainly the most vulnerable population, which I just found very inappropriate.
It was, I mean, it was really, you woke up one morning and the deficit swelled to $3 billion.
Yes.
And so with 2 weeks left, there were not a lot of good choices on the table. The governor had made his position very clear. The legislature really decided to take a stand in terms of health care cuts and minimizing damage, even understanding that cuts needed to be made. A lot of talk about an early MA option, talking about leveraging federal health care dollars as part of that budget solution. Tell us about that.
Which that I thought was a really good idea. I mean, first of all, we would have been able to switch some of our people that were on GMAC over to the federal program. This was early application for the new federal program, and also it would have given us an incredible amount of money. For every dollar we spend, we would receive $7 in return. So I mean, that to me should have been a no-brainer. The fact that it ended up being very controversial with the governor and the opposition on the other side of the aisle, I guess I still am wondering at.
I guess I wonder what your response is to people who say, well, it's you know, the federal government, federal health care, but I guess is your point of view that it's already law, and if those dollars are going to be spent, they should be coming to Minnesota? Is that?
Well, that certainly is one of them, and the fact that also that we know that some of our legislators were going to D.C. and really had a lot of impact in the bill that finally came through. So, I mean, we had our stamp going into what was passed, and the fact that this works in with what we had planned anyways, and just the sheer amount of benefit, because all of these years, Minnesota has been losing so much money that we send to D.C. versus what we get back. And here, we are finally able to at least get some more money back.
So we'll be watching closely to see if the governor does actually make good on his initial indications were that he was not going to sign that, but there still is an opportunity up to the middle of January of next year.
Absolutely.
So we will be watching that. I want to talk to you in just about the minute and a half we have left, Representative Masin. Another big part of the budget solution was the K-12 school shift, or a delayed payment to schools. Tell us about that. I know it's a tough thing for school districts, but it was really one of those situations where there were not a lot of good choices.
Okay, and that is an easy summary to say, but it was a very, very difficult decision. And I guess I'm very upset, first of all, that the people that we placed school districts in a very vulnerable position. And then this is the best that we really could do for them at this point, and this is what we were told by the school districts, that they would prefer the shift to a cut, so eventually they will get paid back, whereas the way the governor unallotted, there was never any chance that they could get the money back because the governor doesn't have that ability.
So it really does come down to, it's not a direct cut, it's a delayed payment, and while difficult, it is still a better option than it could have been. Is that kind of a...
That's a really good summary.
Well, Representative Masin, it certainly was a session with no shortage of tough choices. I thank you for spending so much time with us talking about those choices.
Oh, thank you, Charlene. This is, you know, I think we did an incredible job given the challenges that we had.
And I think that most Minnesotans would agree with that. Certainly, thank you so much for watching Capitol Update, and we will look for you again at the beginning of the 2011 session. Thanks for watching.